I've got a question for you. When I read, why do my eyes not go in the same direction?
Okay, so there's a couple of reasons for that. So your eyes are actually trying to go in the same direction, so they're doing a really good job. When you ask to look left, they do both move left, right, up, down. But you have an underlying thing called strabismus or squint, and that's really common in people with albinism. So what that means is that your eyes, the locking mechanism to keep them looking at the same thing, regardless of where you're looking, is not as good. And that's common anyway, but it's definitely more common in people with albinism. What that means is that your eyes are set basically not to look at the same thing, and your brain probably actually ignores one eye completely most of the time, and it might even flip between which eye it ignores. But when you move left or right, they're both trying to do the same thing, but they're just not directed at exactly the same object. The other nuance is that in different positions of gaze, so when you look to the left or to the right, they might be slightly better in one direction and slightly less good in another direction, so it looks like they're doing different things. You also have had some squint surgery, so you've had some muscles operated on, and quite often we do that either for null positions, so positions of gaze where the nystagmus is least and try and move that to the middle, or because of squint itself. So if your eyes turn out, for example, we might do operation to try and make them straighter. But whenever we do that, we never make it perfect. And what we try and do is make it as good as it can be in what we call the primary position, so straight on. But that often means we sacrifice a little bit what happens in the other directions. So those would be the reasons why your eyes look like they're not looking at the same thing, but also it's different in different directions. That's probably something you've had since you were really young. Have you always had squint?
Yeah, I've always had a squint. I think mostly people can see it when I'm tired, but it's in one of my eyes. One of my eyes turns inwards. And when I was young, I had glasses, but I don't think that obviously worked because I've still got it. But I only use one eye. I only use my left eye, so I don't ever know what that eye is doing. But I think actually my squint is in my left. My squint is in the eye that I use, but I don't use that eye, so I never know what that does either. So sometimes I think that might go off and do its own things too. I don't know.
Yeah, so often when you've got one eye that dominates, usually that eye would be the eye that looks like the straighter eye, usually. The other eye, if it's being ignored, is just basically doing its best. So your brain is saying, well, I've moved that eye that far, I've got to move the other eye that far, but it doesn't benefit from what my eyes would benefit from. Whereas when it moves my two eyes, if one of them is slightly blurry, it will just adjust it very slightly. But you won't have that if it's completely ignoring that eye. So that's another component of it. But it's super, super common anyway, but it's definitely more common in people with albinism as well.
And does everybody with albinism have it?
Probably not everybody, but I would say the vast majority.
If you've got anything else you want us to discuss or any burning questions you want us to answer, then please put it in the comments below.
And if you could press some of those buttons at the bottom, the heart ones, the thumb ones, whatever they are, apparently that's good to get people to see these videos. So please do that.